Hi.
Hello.
You're Chris.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, again, I don't have anything planned.
All good. Neither do I.
Yeah, I meant to plan something, but I was tired from hanging out with ZachJaDa, so I went to bed.
We love ZachJaDa. That kid's dope. I love that little homie.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So I mean, you know, whatever comes to your mind, I'm down to freeform this thing, man.
Yeah, I think ZachJaDa is the whole reason that I met you.
Really?
Yeah, because he introduced me to your music.
He would. I like that. I love Zach like that. He's always like showing people like, oh, you should check out this and check out that, and like he's honestly brought out a lot of great connections. I feel like he really is like an integral part of that whole little crew we were talking about at breakfast.
Yeah, it's so weird how many people he knows, but he doesn't give himself enough credit for it either.
Well, that's the thing. It's like he's one of those people that's just not afraid to be like unapologetically himself and present that to other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I get along with him and I respect the fuck out of that little dude because he just goes out and does shit. He's like, I want to meet Frank Jeffsey. He does. I want to meet Kill Bill the Rap. He does. He's just not afraid to do that. Plus, he's got talent to boot too to get people's attention regardless. So it's like he's a good person. He's confident. He's approachable, and he's talented. Like that. Like how could it not happen for him? He'll be fine.
He was talking about how he's like worried about peaking now, and I'm like,
peaking now?
Yeah,
dude,
like
dude, you're young. The thing, you know, there was a great story that I heard, and I don't know how true it is. It's from a crypto bro too, but he's a good friend. And we were at 8. He invited us just randomly, me and JR from Pop Team Pathetic. Underrated project, might I go check that out. It was mastered poorly. We might fix that, but I'm gonna fix Wolves. What's it called? You know, we were on the 7 train, and he calls us up, and he's like, "Dude, I just got off the plane from Texas, and I have 2 extra tickets to A2B2 at Knockdown Center." Which I was like, I have no idea what this is, and I'm like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's pretty casual. You know, like Arca's gonna be there, Caro Bonito, Machine Girl, like all these really wacky like people that I love." And I was like, "Yes." And then Jay's like, "I don't want to do this." And I was like, "Why?" He goes, "I know none of these artists. I have no clue what's going on." And I was like, "Well, dude, why don't you try it?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "Dude, come on." And he's like, fine, since you want to go." And he wound up having the time of his life. Like, he had never heard of any of these artists, and he was just having so much fun. He hadn't been to a concert since a Weezer concert that he went to in 8th grade, I found out.
Fucking Weezer.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like, W's up, baby. Fellow Weezer fans, get out here. Subscribe to Veritat. If you're another white guy who makes hip-hop music,
you'll love Weezer.
Oh, you will love Weezer. But, you know, we get in there and we're talking to him and he's talking about like all the great success he's had since the last time I talked to him, and he's doing great and I'm really happy for him. And he was like, "Yeah, I figured out the secret is just doing what you love to do longer than anybody else is willing to put up with it."
Yeah.
And I don't know how much I agree with that because I feel like there's more to success than just that. But hearing somebody that's doing good say that, it was a pretty eye-opening thing. That it's like so many people get into it and want, you know, nowadays, and myself included, like I'm not talking like a guru up on the hill here, like immediate success, immediate results, immediate this, that, because that's what we're used to now, instant gratification. And there's nothing wrong with instant gratification. I think that it's fun. It's a little dopamine rush that everybody needs in a pretty depressing world. But just knowing like if you're passionate about something and you keep doing it, it will pay off to some degree. So I don't believe in peaking. Peaking is put on to you by you.
Yeah.
Like, no one else's opinion matters in that regard. If you think what you did afterwards is great, then that's great. And if you don't think it's great, then the next one you gotta fight to be even better. So whatever that is you do, people in the camera.
Yeah, people, listen up. I guess I wanted to talk a bit about Mudgie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I want to do Mudgie and then I guess more of Ceebo Let Go.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the vinyls.
The vinyls. I definitely want to promote the vinyls. Buy those. Please.
But Mudgie, I listened to it for the first time after I listened to Ceebo Let Go.
That's interesting.
And Zach was like, "Yeah, I don't know if you'll like it," but I really liked it. I like how unpolished it sounds, but like, because it's cool to see someone's like sort of roots, I guess.
Yeah.
And how you grow from like.
It's crazy that we're talking about it like that. Feels like I made that yesterday, but it's really been 2 years, 3 years now, huh? Damn.
Yeah, 2 years since Mudgie, and your growth, like musically, sonically, production-wise, it's just everything has gone through the roof.
Yeah,
and
thanks, man.
like just comparing the two, like I know comparing's not super healthy to do, but
I don't know.
I feel like on a personal level, it's okay to compare.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how you made it sound so much. Everything sound. Did you record in a studio for Mudgie at all, or no?
I actually did, which is funny. So I came up with Mudgie. It started forming in the summer of 2019, which was when Pineapple just, algorithm was like, oh, this has been sitting on Spotify for like a year. Discover Weekly, just out of nowhere, which is cool. A lot of you guys that dig my stuff found me through that. So thank you for listening and grooving with me for this long. And I was like, I just went through a lot of change. I had just broken up with a girl I'd been with for 3.5 years. 4 really on and off. Like the music just fucking exploded. I was feeling happy, confident in myself for the first time. I became friends with Frank JFC, who's one of my best friends in the world now. He's like a mentor to me. He was like one of my musical heroes, and he liked my stuff and believed in me enough where we became friends. And I was going through a lot, and I was like, I'm just gonna try and make an album. It wasn't me going like, I have a vision, I have this. I was like, I want to do it because I'm gonna have to at some point. Like, I know my heart's gonna tell me to make one. So I did, and I started pumping out like Caffeine that night after Electronicon, and then like Ankle Socks, Frank gave me the beat for it. That's really what inspired the whole thing.
I didn't know you did Electronicon before Mudgie.
I didn't play Electronicon, I hosted it.
Yeah.
It was right, Pineapple Soda had just taken off the week before Electronicon. Frank came out to see me and we hung out because I was letting him stay with me. He had done it once before. When we made Over and Over, and like early stuff of mine. And one thing led to another, and I wind up hosting Electronicon because I managed Frank. Like I took care of the business proceedings on settlement and stuff. Oh. And Frank was like, George Clinton can't do this interview. Can you do it? And I was like, okay, for sure, why not? Because that's just kind of how I am. And they mic me up. They're like, yeah, you're a musician, right? I was like, yeah. And they're like, okay, great, you're live in front of 17,000 people. I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, hi, I'm Chris. I don't make Vaporwave. I don't really listen to too much Vaporwave, but we are going to learn a lot about it today together. And people just were like, oh, he's super cool. Like, because I was asking genuine questions to these artists after hearing their sets. I had never met them before. Yeah. And I'm sure I got a couple things wrong or stupid and whatever, but it was just a great time. And it just gave me the confidence being around these musicians that took me seriously for once. Yeah. To be like, I'm gonna do this. And I did it. And yeah, I actually did use a studio. My buddy Ara, who still mixes a lot of my stuff. He's one of my very good friends from NYU, where I went to school. We had access to the recording studios because he had a senior project, and his senior project was mixing and mastering that album. And it's rough around the edges because I had, and I still do, have very little to no equipment. Like, I don't really use too much. I use the same equipment on Mudgie that I did on Ceebo Let Go. I just learned how to use it better. Yeah. Which is just a microphone my dad got me for Christmas, a Blue Yeti, and Wait, my laptop.
You record all your stuff on a Blue Yeti?
Blue Yeti.
So do I.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Those things are dope. They're really good. And I always remind people too, like, I'm not trying to say it to be like arrogant or whatever, but it's like, you don't need good equipment to make the music you want to make. Yeah. I did all of this with a sock on a microphone. It's like, seriously, like a sock. Like, now I have a pop filter. Now I know how to treat a room. Now I know in GarageBand, where I still record all my vocals, I put the compression to full and I put the reverb to 25%. That's how you get Ceebo Let Go vocals. Ta-da!
Revealing all the secrets today.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, I want other people to be able to make cool stuff. So, so Mudgie was rough around the edges, and it was recorded on like the best microphones and the best studio because I didn't know how to use it.
Yeah, because you can have everything, but...
You can have the whole world, but if you don't know how to run the world, then what's the point? You're just another dude. It's so it's funny, I actually had a way better setup for Mudgie, and it was rough around the edges because it was also manic, and like, I was energetic and just throwing ideas at walls and seeing what stuck. And then Ceebo was right after the pandemic hit, and I had been alone for a year of my life, and then put into an even lonelier situation where I couldn't leave the basement of my family home, which was unfinished. There were a lot of photographs during the Ceebo Let Go promo of me in front of a green screen that I was hanging from an I-beam with clips I got from Home Depot on a blue IKEA couch with a rug that cost me $30 at Walmart. I was recording all of it next to my carbon monoxide detector, and like there were cobwebs, and it was gross. It was horrible. So we called it Shithole Studios lovingly. And I recorded it all down in a basement where like the reverb was horrible and everything, but I learned how to work with the room from just being stuck down there. And I just wrote what I felt, and Ceebo Let Go came out. So
that's inspiring.
It's not inspiring.
It is inspiring.
I hope it is. You know,
I know it's hard to take compliments, but seeing somebody make something that sounds like super high quality in my opinion, production-wise and vocal-wise. Like, I would have never guessed that was recorded in a basement if I hadn't seen like the pictures of the basement.
Yeah, man, I really wanted to make something special down there, and especially because, you know, that album hits some pretty dark points in my life. You know, the quarantine took a lot from a lot of people, but it's like, you know, one after another. A very close friend of ours died. My grandmother died. My dog died. My grandfather almost died. My mom almost died. My brother, who's physically handicapped, almost died. I was completely void of any social interaction besides the internet for almost a year. Until Jay was the only person allowed into my basement with me because my brother's immunocompromised, being physically handicapped, on a ventilator way before COVID. I physically became unhealthy because you're stuck in a dark room eating a bunch of Italian food that your mom makes you very lovingly, and it's very good. But yeah, I like gained 80 pounds. I was doing horrible, like really bad. And I just wrote what I was feeling. And yeah, there were some really powerful moments that like revelations I had down there. It was like very weirdly meditative and reflective. And I feel like I came out of that basement a better person and a better musician because of it. Because I was like, this is the one thing I have left. This is the only thing that hasn't failed me. And I just put my heart into it. So yeah, it gave me time to dedicate to growing as a person and a musician, so.
Yeah, so I guess moving on from the little bit of Mudgie, well, Zach wanted me to say,
What did he want you to say?
when's Mudgie Mart coming back?
Mudgie Mart's still there. Mudgie Mart is still there, mudgiemart.com. If you go check it out, it's a print-on-demand merch store. I made it so it doesn't leave. It's just I have a lot of links to different things that I'm working on external to the music now. From Mudgie Mart to the vinyl campaign, now I'm doing a lot more shows. So it's like there's a lot of links that bounce around, and I try and promote them as much as I can on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, but I have to keep one up on my bios at a time. I have a link tree, but that link tree got really messy really quick, so I have to just revamp it. So I'm going to do that. But yeah, Mudgie Mart's still there. It's all fan artists because I love working with the people who resonate with the music. And they get 45-ish%. I would normally say 50, but I have to hold stuff because now I get taxed on that. So thanks for buying a bunch of shit. Now you're costing me money. It's like but yeah, no, I definitely want to give back half because it's like, I don't do this. Like, I just facilitate it, and I'm a muse for this cool art that people make, and I put it on a shirt.
Yeah.
So I'm really thankful for that, too. There's some great designs up there, too, if you want this shit on your body for some reason.
With that being said, the link is in the description.
Yeah, thank you. See? We got one place to keep it.
Yeah. If you ever need to wonder where Mudgie Mart is, it'll always be in the description of my video. Always come back to my video.
Come on down to Mudgie Mart. We've got a hat. We actually, that's the one thing we don't have.
We don't have a hat, but we have a shirt with your face on it.
Yeah, we've got several of those. Stay tuned.
But one thing I wanted to say about Mudgie was it sounds thrown together, but it sounds like it's supposed to be like that. And
yeah.
I think it does that really well. Even if like it's rough around the edges, I think that benefits it more than like being super polished in a way. Because I feel like that adds a lot of personality. And I think personality is such a huge thing in music that like a lot of people that are more focused on the like just technical sides of stuff don't really acknowledge.
And it's a shame too, because there's so many great technical musicians that you know, it's not that they don't have a personality, it's just that they don't have like a boisterous big character, but that's who they are.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like they're interested in the technical side of things. So, you know, it's like, I guess the best way to put it is that's why I'm fucking called Hi, I'm Chris. That's kind of what the whole project was. Like, I didn't know who I was. I never knew who I was before I made this music. Now I do, and I'm really happy with who that person is. And yeah, he sucks sometimes, but I write about that in a very lovingly kind of way, because I love how I suck sometimes.
Yeah, and everyone sucks sometimes. So
yeah, we all do. We all have flaws.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not trying to present myself as a perfect person. You know, it's like, I used to live in a town where there was a lot of great music, but everybody wanted to be the Front Bottoms or like, you know, Midwest emo, like people that New Jersey people in the boonies fucking love. And I love that music too. I grew up with it. Modern baseball, like all that kind of shit. Indie rock, I guess, that wave was when I was growing up. And we used to throw shows and crap in like barns, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. I had way too much fun there.
Yeah.
Don't drink underage. But yeah, no, it's you know, but it's like I heard all these bands being like, I wanna die and do this, and I'm like, you live in a country club and your mom packs you sandwiches with the crust cut off.
Yeah.
It's like, that's like, well, like, why do you have to lie? It's like, you have real stuff. Like, there's a story about one time where you broke up with the girl in the coffee shop in Newton, and she said something that you'll never forget, and you got, I don't know, a stain on your shirt. You can make that into a story that's compelling because it's real. It's like
you can really visualize it.
Yeah, it's like why would you waste all of the real things that happen in your life? And there's a time and a place for fiction and fantasy. There is. But it's like, if you're not good at telling fiction and fantasy, tell the truth. It's like, or learn how to tell it. It's like, instead of just doing what other people have done. I tell this to people all the time. There's already an MF Doom. There's already a Grimes or something.
Yeah.
And it's fine to be influenced by somebody, you know? It is. It's great to be influenced by people. You know, you stand on the shoulders of giants. That's how we do science. But be you. Put your spin on it. You know, like what makes you you that makes you so special and different than these other people? I remember some of the meanest things that anybody's ever said to me. There was this pop artist at NYU that I was going to work with, and she wanted me to produce a song for her. And so I did. And I'm not going to name names because she's a nice person, and I'm sure she didn't mean it like this. Yeah. But I start producing it, and I make this cool little beat, and I was like, and it probably wasn't great, but I sent it to her, and I was like, what do you think? And she's like, oh, I love it. And I was like, oh, cool. She's like, but can we change the drums? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. So I changed the drums. She's like, could we change the synth? So I was like, okay. And I changed the synth. She's like, no, less wiggly. And I was like, but that's what I do.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you know, I just figured because, you know, like you have some of these crazy, so much like streams and monthly listeners, like, you know, like why can't you make a song this way? And I'm like, is that all you care about is the numbers? You know, like I busted my ass on these songs. Like, that's why they do well. I can't tell you why they do well. People resonate with it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like people are so reductionist and so focused on these crazy figures that they forget that there's art behind the numbers. And it's like, hey, if you want to work with me, you're going to work with me. I'm not going to try and be somebody else for you. I can make a type beat. Sure, everybody can make a type beat. Go on YouTube, pick one up. But if you want to work with me, I'm going to try and put my own flair on it because I'm working with you. I'm collaborating.
Yeah. Like if someone gets you for a beat, I feel like you should expect to hear your personality and style in there.
Yeah, and it's one thing if you want to tone it down. It's like, you know, I want it to be even and collaborative, so it's like, okay, I will tone it down. But, you know, if it's the equivalent of buying pink Himalayan salt or whatever, and then using the salt, but being like, okay, now let's pick individual pieces of salt off of this meal because, like, we don't want too much of it, or none of it, actually. We want regular salt. It's like, well, why'd you buy the fancy schmancy one? It cost you like $6. It's like you could just get it for free.
Yeah.
I don't know if that analogy made any sense.
I'm sure it made some sort of sense.
To someone.
Yeah, to someone.
Us, that's all.
If it made sense to someone, that's all that matters. So I guess Ceebo Let Go, we'll go over that. Something I really appreciate about it is something I said in my honorable mention.
I know. Thank you for that again. That meant a lot.
Yeah, I really like how everything sounds so upbeat, but if you listen, it's...
Sorry about that. It's my mommy.
It's okay.
Shout out to my mom. I love my mom. I have the best parents in the world. They believe in my music career, which is crazy. But yeah, you were saying?
I really like how everything sounds so upbeat. There's not like really a depressing moment instrumentally, I feel. Like you can do a little jig to any of the songs. But if you listen, it kind of portrays the opposite of that. And I think that's always such an interesting thing to tackle. And I think it's hard to get right. Yeah. But I think Ceebo Let Go did really good at that.
Thank you. Yeah,
I just really appreciate that style.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. That's why I do it, I guess. You know, it just kind of came out of me in this way, I think, because that's kind of how I handle real pain. Yeah. Like, I just joke about it, and like I try and take it with a smile. There's only so much you could take of it, though. You know, it's like. Yeah. So I'll to be brutally honest with people. Like when people ask me how I'm doing, if I'm feeling like shit, I normally go pretty shitty. Like, not gonna lie, and I just get into it. Because they asked, and most people are like, well, it's a phrase you say when you say what's up. Please fucking stop. But I take that shit seriously. So it's like, I am a pretty jovial, optimistic, happy-go-lucky, plucky little dude, if I'm being honest. But I've been through some shit. It's like, you know, like maybe not like crazy, hard, like on the streets type stuff. I live pretty comfortably in that regard. But like I've seen like horrible medical tragedies. I've seen people pass away that shouldn't have passed away. I've been depressed heavily. I've felt like no one understands me before. You know, I feel like everybody does at some point, but you know, like to to the degree where I was not very happy with myself. And but I never let it stop me. Like, it's not what happens to a person that defines who they are, it's what they do next, you know? It's like, and I'm also a believer in, you know, there's no such thing as a bad experience. You know, like, good or bad experience, they're both experience. You learn from it and you grow from pain. So I appreciate all of the different emotions. So I think the music sounds happy because, like, you know, it's like I wanted it to feel like a conversation with like a good friend after all of this. If that makes sense, after all of this, whatever all of this is, whether that's the pandemic for you, whether that's personal tragedy, whatever. But like sitting in a coffee shop and it's just like, you guys are just like, yeah, that was fucking horrible. Like, but look at us now. Yeah. That's really what I wanted, because it's like, it was about letting go of those things. And, you know, there's one point in the album, which is 486, where things are just blown out. I purposefully cranked the ambience on the mic so that you could hear the basement, because I wanted to kind of pull away the illusion a little bit there and just be like, how much more of this toxic crap can I keep in my body before it actually harms me, like physically? And that's, you know, like, you get the chance of like your dead weight. It's like you're just lugging all of this stuff, and that's like the turning point of the record, where I start being very revealing about like how I'm working on myself. You know, like Fall Back is about me just like finally letting go of this like obsession of this person that I haven't talked to in years. And that, yeah, and it was a difficult conversation to have with myself, just being like, it's dead, it's over. You handled the actual process of breaking up with this person well, but you held on to hope until it started festering and hurting you for some reason. And, you know, I never did any creepy, like, stalkery stuff, but it's like I was always hoping that someday she'll contact me. Like, someday this will happen, and it didn't come. And the fact that, like, you can mess with yourself so much like that. Like, it takes a lot to let go of that. And letting go of the pain of people passing away unfairly, or of you know, like of holding on to, like, there was so much stuff I was holding on to, long story short. And you can hear it in the album. But, you know, like people that leave you behind, like good friends, or people taking advantage of you, bad friends. And yeah, it was a lot. And, you know, when you're completely isolated at the end of the day and you realize that, you know, there were some people that really did care, but a lot of them didn't, and you were showing them kindness. It's a hard thing to move on from, because you want to keep showing them love, and you don't want to be a bad person. Yeah. So yeah, it's jovial, because it's like, ha ha ha, I'm on the other side of it. But man, was it fucked up. Like, so yeah, I guess that's where the tone comes from. So I'm glad you appreciate that.
Now that you like said it feels like you're talking to a friend, like, after everything has happened. Yeah. I like 100% see that. That makes so much more sense.
I think I was doing that because when I was in the process of making it, I was still in the process of letting go. And I just had to have this like reminder to myself that this will pass and you'll be fine. You know, you're 98% likely not to be the bottom 1% or the top 1%. You're most likely to be fine. Be a female baby, this a Bentley for a urban lady. You're my lucky star when you're on my handlebar. So baby, come ride with me. Give them the pass and slip you a groovy little chick. It took so much to not fucking curse a ton of shit. Fuck.
Oh, you could have cussed.
Fuck, what, really?